Hi, and welcome to my capstone project by Emily Kim. And so here's a quick table of contents of things I'll be going through. First, I'll be starting off with my mentors that I have two of. The first one is my older sister, Ashley, who currently attends SFU and is in her second year. She's studying to become a computer engineer. My second mentor is also my biology tutor, as well as a psychiatric nurse, and she's also the person who I ended up interviewing for the mentorship assignment. And so here are some of the questions that I asked and how she responded. First is, why do you do what you do? And she responded by saying that after 4 years of university, she found herself in a pinch because she didn't know what to do. She ended up becoming a receptionist, which is something that she absolutely hated. And so she decided to go back to school, where she found out what she actually enjoyed, which was psychology and nursing. From there, she put the two things together and was able to find a job that she enjoyed while also helping out her community. Next question is, what training or schooling did you do? The first one, she went to 4 years at Douglas College and then 4 years at SFU. Then I asked, what would you do if you were me, if I was looking to become a psychiatric nurse? And that would be right after high school, take the prerequisites necessary, and then go straight into nursing schooling to waste no time. And here are some potential future career pathways that I might find myself taking. And so I started to think about jobs that were closely aligned with my passions and interests while also remaining realistic. I ended up narrowing it down to three potential jobs. The first one is a cardiologist, who are doctors that specialize in the cardiovascular system, like the heart and blood vessels. Then a dental assistant who works alongside dentists in order to work with patients. And then an optometrist, who are basically eye doctors. Here is a potential process in order to become an optometrist, which is the thing I most likely see myself becoming. First, you have to get a 4 years bachelor's degree. Usually you have to get in around like sciences, health science, anything in that region. And you have to maintain a B average, although this can vary depending on what the competition is. It may be higher or lower. Then you have to take the OT exam, which is similar to the MCAT, and it tests 4 main regions: physics, natural sciences, reading comprehension, and quantitative reasoning. After you've done that and you've passed it, you have to take a 4-year optometry program, and then you have to take another exam, which is the NBEO exam, and you have to pass that. And I didn't put this in, but optionally you can do another year of training. And so what exactly are optometrists, and just like stuff about the job? And so optometrists make approximately $90,000 to $100,000. On the very low end, you make around $35K, and on the very high end, around $300K. They spend approximately 37 hours in the office, spread across 5, sometimes 6 days a week. Their job growth and satisfaction are rated a 5 out of 5 stars. And some of the things that they do are prescribe eyewear, so like glasses and contacts. They analyze tests and x-rays. They do minor eye surgeries. They dislodge foreign bodies and do regular checkups. Some pros and cons. You make really good money. It has a good outlook. There's many places for employment. It has a good work-life balance and a safe environment. Some cons, it's very hard to become one. There's limited career advancement opportunities, and it's individual work. So you're always working alone. And I want to talk a little bit about SFU, which is the place where I plan to go. And so SFU, or Simon Fraser University, is a public university that has 3 campuses, the main one being in Burnaby, which is where I'm going, Surrey, and then Vancouver. SFU is known for its engineering, health sciences, and art programs, and in fall 2023, I'll be attending for BPK, or biomedical physiology, and kinesiology. And so here is a project that I made alongside my mentor, my older sister, that I want to present it. And so I'll post the link in the in my blueprint. But once you've clicked on the link, there'll be a little green box here that says run. And so please click on that. And then down here, it's going to say, welcome to my 2023 CLC capstone project. And it's going to ask for your name. And so you just want to click underline and then put in your name. And so I just want to do a quick introduction about what the game is exactly. And to put it simply, it's just a math game that my sister and I made. And it tests 4 main areas: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. After you've put in your name, it'll ask you what kind of questions you want. So you can choose from those 4, or you can do all of them at once. And then it'll ask how many questions. Once you've done that, at the very end, it'll tell you how many questions you got right and how long it took for you to answer those questions. And so while you play the game, I will go over some of the coding lines that my sister and I made. And so if you chose addition, which is option number 1, it'll bring you to the screen where your choice brings you to the welcome function. And so this welcome function basically allows a player to restart the game. And so if I was looking to play the game again, at the very end, it'll ask you to play again. And you say yes, it'll bring you back to the welcome function where you can do it all over again. At the very end here, like once you've finished, your score will be printed out. Green is correct and the red is wrong. And there's also an auto marking system that comes with this. Right here, it's gonna at the beginning, it's gonna ask how many questions you want. If you put in a number that's 0 or less than 0, it's gonna say that the number is invalid, and it's gonna ask you again to put in a different number. If you put in something that's not a number at all, if you put in hello, it's gonna again say that's not valid, and it's gonna ask you to redo it. Then once you finally put in a valid number, it's gonna start to print out 3, 2, 1, go, and these prompts are gonna be printed out delayed. And so to do that, you have to use this function, which is the sleep function. And you can see in the brackets right after sleep, there's a 1, which means it gets delayed for 1 second. If you want to repeat the code, it's going to ask, do you want to play again? And you can put Y, capital Y, or lowercase y, it doesn't matter. And it's going to repeat the code and bring you back to the welcome function. If you put N, capital, not capital, doesn't matter. It's going to say, thank you for playing, and it's going to kill the code. And anything else, you put in like a number, different word, doesn't matter. It's going to say, not a valid input, and it's going to repeat the game for you automatically. And so this is a problem that my mentor and I came across. But first, how are 2 numbers selected to be calculated? And so initially, there was 2 things that we thought of. The first one being, we tell the computer, pick 2 numbers in between 0 and 12. Just take those 2 numbers out and then add them, subtract them, divide them. But the problem with that is, what happens if you get 8 divided by 3? Or 10 divided by 0, just anything that doesn't divide well. And so we had to think of it in a different way. And so what if we pre-make the questions? The problem with that is we might get questions, like you might get the same questions over and over again. And so we had to think of it in a different way. For division, we initially started with multiplication. And so, for example, 3 times 4 is 12. And so that guarantees that 12 divided by 4 or 12 divided by 3 is going to be a whole and a valid number. What about subtraction? The computer will generate 2 numbers, and they're labeled as 1 and 2, although it's not the actual values of 1 and 2, just labeled as that. If 1 is greater than 2, it just subtracts them like normal. But if 2 is greater than 1, it switches them and then subtracts them, which at first may seem inefficient, but it's much easier than telling the computer, like, oh, just grab the higher number and then subtract it. And then lastly, what I learned throughout this year. Actually, before I get to this, there's something I have to mention about coding and why I chose coding for this capstone project. And so, as an optometrist, as a dental assistant cardiologist, you're not going to be coding, but it's something that's required. in your undergraduate degree. So if I go to SFU and I want to be an optometrist, I do have to know how to code. And so I just did this to help me in the future in university. So going back to this, grade 12 has helped me understand more about myself than I ever have. While I often found myself struggling with mental health, I was able to reach out to those around me, like teachers, counselors, doctors, and get some of the help that I needed. New friends and new opportunities have changed how I view life and my future, and I look forward to what's ahead. Thank you. Resources.